What if your overwhelm, exhaustion, high functioning burnout, and meh feeling are actually a boundary issue? Like instead of trying to fix yourself by doing more, what if the answer is setting boundaries that honor your joy, time, and energy? Now, in this episode, we're exploring how to set boundaries that truly stick so you can finally enjoy me time guilt free and create space for what matters most to you. Stay tuned. Are you a big-hearted, ambitious woman feeling completely fried by overwhelm and burnout? Do you crave a life of purpose and joy but feel stuck in a cycle of stress and exhaustion? Welcome to Burnout to Bliss, the podcast that empowers you to finally break free, reconnect with yourself, and create a life you absolutely love on your own terms. I'm Dr. Fee, and I'm passionate about helping women like you pour love into themselves first so they can actually enjoy their success and embrace their bliss. So get ready to expand your life beyond what you thought was possible in healing, love, leadership, success, purpose, and wealth. As a strong, independent woman, you might deny being a people pleaser, not overly concerned what other people think about you, and certainly not seeking their approval. However, as you juggle your career, family, friends, and you strive for this elusive image of perfection, have you ever said yes when your soul is screaming, no? If so, I really, really get it. I was caught in people pleasing an ideal version of myself. This perfect version of me was the people. Okay, them peoples. What will they think? How can I say no? Like, it was this unrealistic expectation that I held for myself that I could never truly meet. Now, beneath the surface, I was crumbling. I felt really, really messy. Okay. I wore a mask, a big smile on my face. I had success on paper. But the constant pressure that I put on myself to be everything to everyone and everything else left me drowning in stress and overwhelm and future suffering and thinking about all the what ifs and trapped in high functioning burnout for years. And this is where you go through the motions of life. You're on autopilot, but you're feeling deeply exhausted and a growing sense of resentment and frustration. And I knew I needed to take care of myself. Of course, I got it. I'm a smart, intelligent, capable woman. Of course, I know I need to take care of myself. But as an overachiever, setting boundaries felt impossible, seemed impossible. And the reason is because this tidal wave of guilt or just an ick, like an emotional response, a feeling in my body would wash over me and it would make me feel like I was letting everyone down, especially myself. And my turning point came with two key realizations. And the first is that I recognized my inability to set boundaries to honor my joy, time, and energy was the core issue. It was a light bulb moment, you know? And even today, when I notice that I feel frustrated or resentful, it's like the green light. I catch myself. I go, oh, it's not about the other person or the situation. It's actually about my boundaries or lack thereof. The second is that I realized sustainable boundaries meant addressing the guilt first. And this is going to be a game changer for you if you've ever struggled to implement consistent boundaries, boundaries that stick. So let's talk about that, creating rock solid boundaries that truly support your well-being, your life, your success. Even if you've been stuck in overwhelm or high functioning burnout like I had for years and years and years. Now, I have three key shifts that are going to help you to thrive, not just survive. And the first shift is recognizing that boundaries are not selfish. They're essential for your well-being. And I know that you might get that, but do you really get it on a deeper level? And many ambitious, overachieving women feel guilty setting limits. They worry about letting others down. Or in my situation, if you're like me, it was about letting myself down. And that, part of me that had this really unrealistic expectation. Like, let me just jam more things on my list and, I don't know, create time out of thin air. Let me defy the laws of nature here. But constantly overextending yourself leads to resentment, exhaustion, and deeper burnout. Have you noticed that? Now, I'm going to invite you to ask yourself, what are you sacrificing by saying yes to everything? When you say yes to another thing, when you are already at capacity, you're actually saying no to yourself. Let me say that again, because this is something that I remind myself of day in, day out. When I say yes to another thing, when I've got a full list, I'm at capacity, I'm saying no to myself. And what's the true cost of not prioritizing you and your needs? Because here's the thing, most women would say that prioritizing themselves, their needs is absolutely a priority for success, for them to attain their achievement, for their family's well-being. It's important. But then so too is motherhood, career, marriage, family. There's so many priorities because we're juggling all these competing priorities. And as Jim Collins said, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. And it's why anytime life gets really busy or messy, which is inevitable, it's just life. It's why when that happens, you are quick to abandon yourself, drop your rhythms, drop the self-care, stop taking care of yourself when it comes to your food and exercise and all these things that you know actually nourish and nurture you, because actually it's not the priority. On a deeper level, you haven't cultivated it as the most important element, because as a part of you, this is more than just mindset. It's more than addressing boundaries on a cognitive level. It's absolutely necessary to embrace boundaries as non-negotiable self-care, not selfishness. And that takes the right strategy and support. Like, we got to go beyond the mind. Now, the second shift is understanding that inconsistency is the enemy of healthy boundaries. And we are the cause and the cause of that, and we are responsible for that. So you might set a boundary, a limit, and then cave under pressure or guilt. Okay. And this sends mixed signals, teaching others your boundaries are negotiable. Oh my gosh, children can sniff this out. If you're wavering, like if my children say, "Hey mom, can I have some ice cream tonight?" And if I have a little bit like of an inkling to have ice cream, they can sniff it out. They're persistent. But if I'm like rock solid, no, they drop it. Yep. Okay, mom. Now, it's like training a puppy. If we're inconsistent with our responses, with how we communicate, how we implement our limits, it actually just encourages them to keep pushing. And the same applies to people, reinforcing your boundaries consistently, even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable. Okay. It builds trust with yourself and with others. It demonstrates you mean what you say, and it's about respecting your own needs and teaching others to do the same. So imagine standing firm, like solid in your power, firm in your boundaries, honoring yourself and creating a more balanced life where there is space for moments that matter most to you. And the third and the most crucial shift is communicating your boundaries clearly and confidently. Knowing your limits isn't enough. You need to express them effectively. And this is not about being aggressive or demanding or like sassy. Like, sassy is good, but like in a way where it's just like, screw you guys, this is who I am, and you're just going to have to love and accept it. I think that can ruffle too much of a reaction. Okay, I think there is a more skillful way that we can implement boundaries. Now, I used to make a mistake with my husband, okay? And that's because we've been on a journey now for almost 19 years. And I would assume that he should just know. I would assume that he should know what I wanted, what I meant, how things should flow. Like he could read my mind. We're together. We spend so much time together. We've talked about it. I'd assume that discussing something once actually meant I never had to bring it up again. Yeah, or it's common sense. I could just be like, but that's just common sense. But the thing with common sense is that is so dependent on our upbringing, culture, society, so many things like gender and our family of origin that influences common sense. Consistent communication is essential in every relationship, especially during transitions. So, getting married, having children, returning to work, accepting a new position or a promotion, or even like your kids, starting prep or going to high school where there's a shift in the dynamic at home. And same with at work. When you transition projects or certain milestones, it's really important to reinforce your boundaries and communicate standards. And it's like building a muscle. Initially, it feels really hard, it's tricky, you might feel frustrated. Why do I have to do this? The more you practice, the stronger it gets, and the more evidence you receive of how critical communicating your boundaries so that you can consistently implement them and like show up for yourself, build self-trust and trust in them in the relationship is when it comes to boundaries that actually stick. Now, here's the thing. Most people will embrace your boundaries. It will be an experience that is just as you empower yourself, you empower them. Like I see this again and again and again in my clients, especially when it comes to, leadership and their intimate relationships. It's an incredible transition that can happen for them. But some might push back. And that's where my clients truly appreciate my support, because navigating that pushback can be tricky. It can really trigger our unworthiness, our guilt, our fear, these patterns, childhood trauma. It can be tricky. My work helps my clients to see that each time they communicate their limits, reinforce their self-worth, they create space for what truly matters. And it's about owning your needs and expressing them. This is empowerment. Who am I? What are my needs? How do I best meet my needs? How do I express them with clarity and compassion, both for myself and for others? And it's about embodying the principle. And this is something that I just have had to I've been on this path of embodying this principle for many, many, many years. And it's been such a critical part of my whole healing and recovery journey. And expansion, expansion into more of a blissful life. And that is, what's good for me is good for all. What's good for me is good for you. What is good for me is good for all. And it's recognizing that because of my heart, and I know so many of you who are listening right now probably resonate with this. We love to love. We love to help other people. Okay. And for me, for many years, I lived by like what's good for all, but I forgot that I was a part of the all. And so it was so much of self-sacrificing, high-functioning burnout, overwhelm, exhaustion, depletion, body crashing. So this is the key takeaway now. Creating boundaries that stick requires supporting yourself so deeply when doing something new, like saying no, communicating, asking for what you're worth, scheduling and enjoying me time, ditching that guilt. Without that inner work, like on a deep, deep level, you will just slip back into overwhelm, high functioning burnout, exhaustion, and resentment. It's just the nature of our conscious, subconscious mind. It's the nature of our emotional needs and what really drives our behavior. This is the heart set work. It's identifying and honoring your emotional needs. What the hell are they? How do you support yourself in this? This work is life changing. And it's absolutely my cup of tea. And if you're ready to step into your power, create boundaries that stick, that get you the results with ease and compassion, that's what's good for you is good for all, let's chat. I really look forward to supporting you with this, and I invite you to book a free 15-minute discovery call when we can have a conversation about this and really explore where you're at, where you want to get to, what might be tripping you up, and create a game plan around how do you support yourself in implementing these boundaries so that you can show up fully as your best self. That's where life gets very, very exciting. And I want that for you. So the link is in the show notes. And I'm wishing you all the best with that. And I'll speak to you soon on the next episode. It's been so beautiful spending this time with you. If today's episode sparked something within you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the love. Are you done feeling overwhelmed and burnt out? If you're craving a curated, holistic framework that addresses burnout on every level, body, mind, heart, and soul, to get you claiming your life on your terms, then my Burnout to Bliss program is perfect. Apply for a free breakthrough session with my team and let's deep dive into your unique situation to help you reclaim your energy, joy, and power. Now, if you'd prefer to get a taste of what's possible, then come join our amazing Bliss Sisterhood. It's our low-cost, high-value monthly community membership, and you'll find the links to both in my bio. So stay tuned for the next episode where we'll unlock even more secrets to living a blissful life. Remember, you are powerful beyond measure. Take care.